Hello everybody, what's going on? So, I assume you realize now that I have autism, and autism isn't special, it's just different. What hurts my feelings, on the other hand, is the fact that people, just like the kids on the screen right now, were treated awful and called insane just for having autism. They would electrocute the crap out of those kids just because they had autism. They would torture those kids just because they were different. And what really sucks is back in the time that this photo was taken, if you got sick, they would stick you in the hospital and they would inject you with needles full of medicine for sicknesses and diseases that you had nothing to do with. It's torture. It really is. And just be thankful that nowadays torture is a crime. I sure am thankful because now I don't have to live through something like this. This is horrible. So, the next time you see a kid with autism, you should really think about what their ancestors have been through. They're not special just because they're different. They're still human. So don't treat them like aliens. And don't treat them like insane people. That's what hurts my feelings. Because I know that I would have to go through the same thing these kids went through if I were in that time. If I lived during that time. They didn't even care about you if you were different. Back in those days, if you were different, they would just throw you out and have you locked up somewhere. Your parents would just tell the police, I don't matter where you lock him up, he's different, so just lock him up. I don't care about him because he's different. And then you would either go to jail or to a psychiatric hospital. Okay? We're not serial killers just because we're different. You don't have to lock us up every time we're different. Everybody's different. And that's okay. What makes it not okay is the way you treat them because they're different. So, please, be respectful to people with disabilities because they're going through some really hard things that you have no idea about. Some people with autism can't talk. So they can't tell you if they're in pain. They can't tell you they're hungry. They can't tell you they're thirsty. They can't even tell you they're tired. So if they're having a headache or a seizure, they can't tell you that because they can't talk. If they're having a heat stroke, they can't tell you. If they're sick in any way, there's no way for them to tell you because they can't talk. And you're making fun of them for it. That's offensive. People get made fun of because of their disabilities way too much. People with disabilities get made fun of way too much. Like, I was born with autism, and my older brother abused the crap out of me for 16 years. He abused me. He did. Just because I was born with autism. And he thought that made me special. Well, it doesn't. It just makes me different from everybody else. And in some ways it makes me unique. Just like everybody else has something that makes them unique. So, there's one person with Aspergers, which is the same type of autism that I was diagnosed with at the age of 4. So, there's one kid with Aspergers, which is now called just regular autism anyway. That kid can fly above a whole town on a plane and then perfectly draw out the entire city by memory. And I have Aspergers. I was diagnosed with it when I was 4. And I can memorize almost every song I hear and every movie I see. I can perfectly memorize it and spill it to you. That's why I do parodies, because I'm trying to spread the message. People with autism are creative too, and people with autism deserve to be treated like a normal human being. They don't deserve special treatment, and they don't deserve to be treated any less perfectly than you guys. Okay? We're not getting all this stuff like handicap parking, wheelchairs, and stuff like that just because we're special. We're doing it because that's our disability. We're getting all that stuff because that's our disability. And what has been making me cry for years is the fact that they would actually do this to those kids back in those days. And because of the fact that they would separate me from the entire world. Yeah, that's why they have the autism programs at most schools. They would just say, oh, this kid has autism. Let's put him in this school because it has an autism program. Stick him in the class with all the other autistic kids who like to beat the crap out of each other. Yeah, that hurts my feelings. I mean, they're not treating us badly anymore, but that doesn't mean they're not treating us perfectly like a normal human being. Some of us can talk, but some of us can't. So, the next time when you guys have kids, if one of them's born with autism, don't make fun of them, and don't abuse them, and don't send them away. They're unique. They've got something in their mind that's unique. And just because we have autism doesn't make us any different. The only thing that is different about us is that our brain works differently. It's not any better, and it's not any worse than yours. It's just different from yours. And it allows them to be more creative with their minds and their imaginations. And it hurts to see that kids with autism were treated like this back in the day. So the next time you see a kid with autism, don't make fun of him and don't pick on him because he's capable of things even you aren't capable of. And he may not be any more important or any more special than you, but he's still unique in his own way. Or she, just like you. You're not special and you're not important, but you are unique in your own way. I just thought I'd speak out for those who can't. So, don't make fun of people with disabilities. It just hurts my feelings that people used to do that in the first place. Some people still do that. Oh, he has autism, so he must be an idiot. Oh, he must have autism, so he must be retarded. Everybody make fun of him. Everybody make fun of him. He's different. He has autism. No, don't do that. That makes us feel bad. I have heard of people actually committing suicide just because they've been treated differently for something like this. And it's not right. Just because we're different doesn't make us any less human than you are. Just because we're different from you does not make us any less of a human being. We're all still human. It's not right to do this to people just because they're different. Now that I got that off of my chest, I think it's time for me to maybe stop recording, because this thing's about to shut me off anyway. I spent like almost 10 minutes talking about this. Alright, as always, like and subscribe, click the bell button, leave a comment, and don't forget to watch some of my other videos as well. So, I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and I got a new creepypasta night coming up here in like 4 days, so don't miss that. See ya.